Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Does it ring okay?
It sounds like Govinda Maharaj.
Det lyder som Govinda Maharaj.
Han spiller sådan en stor nogen på den her.
Aha. Raghupati Raghavaratya Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram Raghupati Raghavaratya Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram Raghupati Raghavaratya Ram Patita Pavana Sita Raghupati Raghavaratya Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram Sita
Hare
Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Ki
Jai.
Diwali Ki
Jai.
Welcome to our glorious Diwali celebration 2015. Today is a day when Lord Sri Ram, Sita, Lakshmana and Hanuman and the monkeys returned to Ayodhya after 14 years of the Lord Ram's exile. And it's the most glorious day that has been celebrated since Lord Ram appeared in the Treta Yuga, which according to the Vedic scriptures is something like 2 million years ago. So from this we can understand that actually modern anthropology's idea about that there were no human beings on this planet 2 million years ago is wrong, because here we have the evidence. It's mentioned in the scriptures. And I'm going to here read a little from the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the Srimad Bhagavatam here, of course, there are many biographies of Lord Sri Ram. The main one is the Ramayana by Valmiki Muni, which is an enormous book. The full Ramayana is a book that is larger than the Christian Bible, actually. So it's a very, very big piece of literature. Ancient, written by Valmiki Muni. And there are also other biographies. And but here we have Lord Ram is mentioned also in most of, as far as I know, all the Puranas. His pastimes have been narrated. And here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Purana, there are 2 chapters on pastimes of Lord Ram. And Shukadeva Goswami is in the beginning of these chapters telling Maharaj Pariksit that you have already heard so much about Lord Ram, so I'm just going to give you a small synopsis of his Leela, of his pastime. And then we have 2 chapters here on Lord Ram. So I'm reading from here. And here I'm starting, I'm going to just read something like 10-15 texts and then Prabhupada's purport to one of them. And we are here in text 33, which actually picks up where Ramchandra is returning to Ayodhya, meaning that's today, Diwali. And here it goes. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Avakir Manasu Kushamai Loka Pala Pitai Pati Upakiyamana Charita Sata Dritya Gibiya Buddha. When Lord Ramchandra returned to his capital, Ayodhya, he was greeted on the road by the princely order who showered his body with beautiful fragrant flowers, while great personalities like Lord Brahma and other demigods glorified the activities of the Lord in great jubilation. Gomutra Yavakam Shutva Bratalam Balka Lambaram Mahakaruniko Tapjach Jati Lam Standileshayam. Upon reaching Ayodhya, Lord Ramchandra heard that in his absence his brother Bharata was eating barley cooked in the urine of a cow, covering his body with the bark of trees, wearing matted locks of hair, and lying on a mattress of kusha. The most merciful Lord very much lamented this. Of course, this refers to that the whole reason why Lord Ram was banished to the forest was that the mother of Bharata had promises to be fulfilled by Dasarath, the father of both Ram and Bharata and Lakshmana and Satrugna. And she wanted that promise fulfilled, that Ram should not be enthroned as king, but he should be banished to the forest for 14 years, and her son Bharata should become king. And of course, and that's a whole background for the exile and all the pastimes that took place in connection with that. And Bharata was not behind that at all. Actually, he rejected his mother from that point. And he protested and he objected, and he didn't want to accept the throne instead of Lord Ram. But Lord Ram said, no, this is our father. He has made this promise. As sons, we must obey the order of our father. So you should be king. And then Bharata, he agreed, so no, I will not be the king, your shoes will be the king. And he took the shoes of Lord Ram and he put them on the throne. And then he lived outside Ayodhya, described here, eating barley cooked in the urine of a cow, dressing in tree bark, simply sleeping on directly on the ground, and then ruling as a king from that, as on behalf of Lord Ram. And from Ram, he was very much mortified to hear that. And that's of course one thing we see. Ramayana is filled with intense emotions, and that's why we are, I guess everyone here has heard the Ramayana maybe many times, but it's just as absorbing and touching as, it actually becomes more and more the more one reads it. That's magic about the Ramayana. Because normally if you read a book, it's a plot, and if you read, you start reading an exciting novel, and then someone comes and tells you, actually, in the end, that it's actually the butler who's a murderer. You just ruined the whole thing. There's no more exciting. But Ramayana is not like that. It's not the plot. It's not the surprise what's going to happen. It is these beautiful relationships and emotions between all these great personalities. And actually, the more one meditates on these, the more beautiful it actually becomes. And the more one is actually approaching the essence of spiritual life, which is personal relationships. It has to be, it can only really, literatures like Ramayana and Mahabharata and the Puranas and so on can only be understood when one actually understands that personality is the essence of existence. There is a philosophy which was actually, it's not the original Vedic philosophy, it's something that has been influenced by Buddhism, and it goes back to Shankara, where the idea is that personality is a secondary manifestation of an impersonal oneness, impersonal something behind it. And ultimately, personality is illusory, God is illusory, we are illusory, the difference between us and God is illusory, and actually everything is illusion except the one Brahman. That's not the original Vedic philosophy. It's Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. He gives the actual Vedic philosophy, and that could be documented by many quotes. But Krishna says, "Brahmano hi pratistaham amritasya yasya cha," that I am behind Brahman. I'm behind I'm the source of the Brahman. This the great Brahman is simply the effulgence of the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. Who is Ram? When you say Krishna and Ram, to understand we're talking about the same person who incarnates into this world. So, and also the Brahma Samhita says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karanam, that Lord Sri Krishna, he is Sarva Karanam, he is the cause of all causes, but there's no cause behind him. He's not only eternal, but he's behind eternity, he's behind time, he's a cause of everything, but he has no cause himself, he's the uncaused cause. And the great Brahman, that is simply the effulgence from his body, the effulgence of consciousness pervading the entirety of existence, including here. Also, that's also said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Vadanti tat vavidas tatvam yatyam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyati, that the absolute truth is realized in three phases, as Brahman, as Paramatma, and as Bhagavan. Brahman is a first realization, it's a faint spiritual realization of the great oneness of, spiritual oneness of the entire existence. But as you advance, then you realize there is difference. There is an Atma, merely Atma. We're all Atmas, individual Atmas. And then there's this Paramatma, superior soul, who is present everywhere and is controlling us and is present in the bodies of us all as a supreme controller above us all. And then when one advances further, one comes to the realization of Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, who the Paramatma actually is, his personality, his name, his form, his activities, his associates, everything about him. Actually get to know the person. It's like we can experience here in this country that there is a rulership, there is some government like that. That's kind of realizing there's Paramatma, there's laws we must follow, we've been controlled. Realizing Bhagavan, the personality is God, is actually you get to know who are those who are behind, who the controllers are, and you get to know them as persons and have relationships with them. So, that being said, we can stand actually entering into the Ramayana and all the personal dealings and become part of that. That's actually really the essence of all spiritual realization. Personality doesn't stop. It becomes what personal experiences becomes more and more intense the more one advances in spiritual life. So, therefore, there's nothing illusory about the pastimes of Lord Rama, meditating on the relationships there. And they're not a means to an end, they're the end in themselves, experiencing, being deeply absorbed in all the personal dealings in between the Lord and his pure devotees is the essence and the goal. And there's nothing beyond that. There's no perfection beyond that, actually. So, here, more about, reading here more from Bhagavatam. Bharata praptam akanya pauramacha puro itai paduke sirasinyasya ramam prachu jato krajam. When Lord Bharata understood that Lord Ramchandra was returning to the capital, Ayodhya, he immediately took upon his own head Lord Ramchandra's wooden shoes and came out from his camp at Nandi Gram. Lord Bharata was accompanied by ministers, priests and other respectable citizens, by professional musicians vibrating pleasing musical sounds, and by learned brahmanas loudly chanting Vedic hymns. Following in the procession were chariots drawn by beautiful horses with harnesses of golden rope. These chariots were decorated by flags with gold embroidery and by other flags of various sizes and patterns. There were soldiers bedecked with golden armor, servants bearing betel nut, and many well-known and beautiful prostitutes. Many servants followed on foot, bearing an umbrella, whisks, different grades of precious jewels, and other paraphernalia befitting a royal reception. Accompanied in this way, Lord Bharata, his heart soft in ecstasy and his eyes full of tears, approached Lord Ramchandra and fell at his lotus feet with great ecstatic love. Again, this is a description that goes like 2 billion years back. The idea that that civilization is a recent thing, that there's only been civilized urban civilization for the last 10,000 years or something like that. We can hear that's not correct. There were civilizations millions and millions of years ago, advanced civilization, as advanced as present civilization, and more advanced even more advanced. Modern civilization is actually not very advanced. Maybe in some technological gadgets, and even that is not very advanced. But especially when it comes to like civilized conduct and so on, I mean, modern world is not very civilized actually. We had highly organized society millions of years ago. Kings, ministers, it means also many kinds of citizens, and there are priests, and there are, it's all there, and it's very, very organized. And of course, very opulent. The old Vedic times, very, very opulent, much more opulent than modern world. It's actually not very opulent. It's a poverty covered by plastic. Modern word. Poverty in plastic bags. But yeah. Parake nyasa pura ta pranjaliya basvalochana tam aslisha chilam durbyam snavayanya jayalai. After offering the wooden shoes before Lord Ramchandra, Lord Bharata stood with folded hands, his eyes full of tears, and Lord Ramchandra bathed Bharata with tears while embracing him with both arms for a long time. Accompanied by Mother Sita and Lakshmana, Lord Ramchandra then offered his respectful obeisances unto the learned brahmanas and the elderly persons in the family, and all the citizens of Ayodhya offered their respectful obeisances unto the Lord. The citizens of Ayodhya, upon seeing their king return after a long absence, offered him flower garlands, waved their upper clubs, and danced in great jubilation. As Amita pointed out this morning, this is not the reception our modern politicians are getting. They cannot walk out on the street without, an army of bodyguards and around them, because the citizen wants to kill them. I mean, not all, but there's nothing. Of course, there is an army. There's all kinds of, but that's more like the formality of royalty we see here. But actually, everyone described here is simply loving Lord Sri Ram. It's a different age we're talking about. There's no modern politics is not there, and it's a very opulent and peaceful time we're hearing about. So here, King Lord Bharata carried Lord Ramchandra's wooden shoes. Sugriva and Vibhishan carried a whisk and an excellent fan. Hanuman carried a white umbrella. Shatrughna carried a bow and 2 quivers, and Sitadev carried a water pot filled with water from holy places. Angala carried a sword, and Jambavan, king of the rickshaws, carried a golden shield. It's sometimes, it's an interesting verse. You have here all these great personalities, including the queen herself, and the brother of the queen, the brother of the king, and his close friends and associates. And here we hear actually what they are doing. Very simple things. One is carrying the shoes. One is carrying a whisk and a fan, an umbrella. Sita is carrying a pot with water. And sometimes we think perfection is that we can do something spectacular, become world famous, and great preachers and acharyas and gurus and worshipped by everyone, and learn it like anything. But actually we see here, no, the point is to be engaged in service. If one is engaged in service of the Supreme Lord, we don't have to. And it's not what kind of service. You carry a water pot. It's perfection. Carrying wooden shoes. There's no higher perfection than the wooden shoes of the Supreme Lord. And we see here that these greatest of all personalities, they're very satisfied to do simple service. So, as far as I can see, that's kind of the message in this verse here. In service, in service is absolute, and service is what, the more relationship, the more realization one has, the more one wants service, and simple service is actually, in one sense, it's even better than complicated service. Any service. That's we see the Hanuman as the